Plough Lane was a football stadium in Wimbledon, London, England, that throughout its history was predominantly the home of Wimbledon FC. The plot of land that became Plough Lane, at the corner of Plough Lane and Hayden's Road, was originally purchased by Wimbledon Football Club in 1912. A stand that would hold 500 spectators was erected soon after the purchase, and the first match was played on the 7th of September 1912, which was a friendly between Charles Halton Athletic, which ended in a 2-2 draw. During the First World War, improvements were made and continued to be made, and in 1918 the vice president of the club, Gil Knight, had boasted that the club had the finest ground in the Southern District. Throughout the 1920s, Plough Lane consistently saw crowds of 5,000 to 8,000 on average. In 1923, the South Stand was added, as it was purchased from Clapton Orient, who are now known as Leyton Orient FC. The terrace that sat in front of the North Stand was improved during the 1932-33 season, and by the start of the Second World War, the ground's capacity had reached 30,000. Plough Lane was even used for an international amateur match when England played Wales on the 19th of January 1935. During the Second World War, Plough Lane was greatly damaged, as the location around the stadium and the stadium itself was bombed. Most of the stands were damaged and thus were required to be remodeled and rebuilt, which resulted in a reduced capacity of 25,000 by 1950. Throughout the 50s, many more improvements were made, as in 1954, floodlights were purchased for the ground. The North Stand was completely rebuilt before the 1957-58 season, and the ground's freehold was purchased from Merton Borough Council by Chairman Sidney Black for £8,250 in November 1959, and then was thus donated to the club. After this, improvements continued to be made as the floodlights that were initially purchased in 1954 were finally added to the stadium for a total of £4,000. The first match that took place under the floodlights was on October the 3rd, 1960, in a London Charity Cup match versus Arsenal, where Arsenal would eventually win 4-1. Throughout the 1971-72 season, there was an attempt to build a market on the club's ground in order to raise more funds for the club. However, a statute decree from Charles I in 1628 forbid any market within 7 miles of the Kingston upon Thames market. The court ruled the proposed market would have been 5.5 miles from the market, so the plans were eventually scrapped. Although the club was elected into the Football League in 1977, Wimbledon had financial troubles. In order to ease the financial strain on the club, in April 1983 the club bought out the preemption clause inserted back in 1958 for £100,000. And a year later, they sold the ground to club chairman Sam Hammond for £3 million. After this sale, all looked good, as the following decades at Plough Lane were the most successful in the history of Wimbledon FC, as the club was promoted to the First Division in 1985-86 and had won the FA Cup in the 1987-88 season. However, by the 1991 season, the financial troubles had continued, and after the publication of the Taylor Report, in which all professional football stadiums were required to become an all-seater stadium, the club made it clear that they were not in a financial situation to make this happen at Plough Lane. As a result, the club made an agreement with Crystal Palace to lease Selhurst Park, and in return, Plough Lane will be used for Crystal Palace and reserve matches. This deal lasted until 1998, when Wimbledon made the decision to sell Plough Lane to Safeway, which was eventually resold to a construction company, David Wilson Homes, and remained abandoned until 2002, when it was eventually demolished to make room for a residential complex. The club was then sold and moved to Milton Keynes in 2002, and it seemed like that would be the end of the story for Wimbledon and Plough Lane. However, a new Phoenix club in Wimbledon was formed in the same year, under the name Association Football Club Wimbledon, or AFC Wimbledon for short. For years, AFC Wimbledon was ground sharing with Kingstonian as they played their matches at Kings Meadow. However, in 2018, the financial and competitive progress of AFC Wimbledon was starting to pay off, and the club announced the intention of building its own stadium. The club purchased land from the Wimbledon Greyhound Stadium, which was a former Greyhound racetrack, and the new site was just 300 meters from the old Plough Lane. The new ground was opened on November 3rd, 2020, in a 2-2 draw between AFC Wimbledon and Doncaster Rovers, and the ground cost a total of £34 million to build. The new ground was initially named Plough Lane Stadium, in honour of its predecessor. However, for sponsorship reasons, it is known as Cherry Red Records Stadium today. Today, the stadium also plays host to the rugby league side London Broncos, in which this ground sharing agreement started in 2022. The stadium currently has 4 main stands, the first being the West Stand, which was the first to be constructed, and has the main entry from the south off of Plough Lane. This structure contains 4 stories with general admissions access on the first floor and hospitalities above. This section can hold 4,267 fans. The South Stand hosts the more vocal home supporters and has a capacity of 1,092, but also includes a safe standing area as well. The East Stand has a capacity of 2,391 and is the family section of the stadium, and the North Stand hosts the away fans and has a capacity of 1,465 to make a total capacity of 9,215. Thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video and hopefully found it to be both entertaining and informative. If you liked it, please feel free to like the video, comment, and subscribe, as it helps me out a lot and lets me know that people are enjoying the videos. I hope that you have a great day.